This is the Learn It passage for week 5 in Chanticleer. Remember, each week you want to be cutting out the grammar cards for that week and reviewing them. Review all your grammar cards every single week. This week on your Learn It page, we're talking about transitional expressions and interjections. Interjections are just something where it's not a complete sentence usually, but it stands alone kind of as a fragment that's legal, like, oh my goodness, that's not really a sentence. It's just an exclamation point. You can mark them if you want with a T. That's one of the things they do. One thing's about traditional words, they help connect ideas or show relationships between them if they're at the beginning of a sentence. Actually, anywhere in the sentence, they're usually set off with commas. Your fix-it page is on page 12 in your book, and they're going to give you some examples. They say, when transitions do not interrupt the flow of a sentence, however, that's a transitional word, do not use commas. So you'll be able to see this. Interjections are words that express an emotion like ow, ugh, whew, something like that. They are usually set off with commas or exclamation points if it's really strong emotion. They are not a sentence by themselves, so don't mark them as a sentence by themselves. Then there's a little bit more about coordinating conjunctions. One of the things that we have talked about is recognizing when you need to have a comma with a coordinating conjunction. For example, if it's joining two main clauses, it's not strong enough by itself, so you need a comma. Or if you have items in a series, then if you have a coordinating conjunction as the very last thing, you need a comma with that one as well, which is called the Oxford comma, but it does help for clarity a lot. But here's the big thing that they're focusing on. First of all, this comes after the starting sentences. No commas after a coordinating conjunction. A lot of times you notice when I say you're joining two sentences, the comma goes before the coordinating conjunction. When you have items in a series, the comma goes before the coordinating conjunction. You don't put a comma after a coordinating conjunction. And there is a tendency for students to want to do that sometimes. So pay attention to that. The only time you would do it is if there's a non-essential element, which is separate from the coordinating conjunction idea, but it just so happens that there's a non-essential element following the coordinating conjunction. Then for that non-essential, you would have the comma. That's the only time you'd have one afterwards. But starting sentences, which I just did, with a coordinating conjunction in your writing is a no-no. You usually mean something else, and I'm going to share and show you this one because I get this a lot. In academic writing, you don't do something like this. I love to eat ice cream. Okay. Coordinating conjunctions, remember their definition is that they join things together, but it's not joining something if it's at the beginning, is it? So here's something that you can fix it by doing this, making it one sentence. Sorry about that. Just put a comma there. I enjoy eating ice cream, but it hurts my teeth. So make it one sentence. Or if you really want it two sentences, you can say, I love to eat ice cream. However, usually when people use but at the beginning of a sentence, they mean however, and you don't ever want to. You might say additionally instead of and at the beginning of a sentence. There is a tendency to want to use that when you're reading things, especially if it's written like to be kind of conversational in style, they're going to use it, but it's not technically correct. And it bothers me. So if you're writing for me, don't begin a sentence with a coordinating conjunction. Another example, I get this a lot. So. I have to give it up, the ice cream. It doesn't mean so. So is a coordinating conjunction. What are you joining to? It hurts my teeth, so I have to give it up. I could put a comma here after teeth and lowercase so, or what you usually mean when you're saying so is therefore. Therefore, I have to give it up. That's what we're talking about with the coordinating conjunctions. If you look on page 12 in your book, they give you some examples. Pert-a-lot adored almost everything about her husband, but she could not admire Chanticleer when he quaked for fear. It means, however, there. You could say this. Oh, they do that right afterwards, and they fix it that same way that I just showed you. So, and this is kind of written in a fairly sophisticated type language, so they wouldn't have used that more casual using a coordinating conjunction. And then we're talking about fixing run-ons. There are 4 common ways to fix a run-on. The most common, I will tell you, is a CC with a comma. Join them. With a period, don't join them. With a semicolon, if they're closely related. And with a colon, but that is so rare. I would be super, super careful about joining 2 main clauses, 2 run-ons that way. I would stick with, if I were you, just these. The 2 main ones you should be using to fix a run-on sentence is coordinating conjunction with a comma, or don't join them with a period. If one logically follows the other and they're very closely related, you can also use a semicolon. And that's it for the Fix It for this week. So go ahead and take this information after reviewing your grammar cards, do the editing yourself, and then be on the lookout for the corrections video to come up.